Okay, so if you've decided the market for your business has returned, at least to some extent, and you know who you need back in the business, you can get started. Well, maybe not. Firstly, there are those who are in self-isolation or shielding vulnerable people who might be fit to return but unable to do so because they're caring for someone else. They will remain entitled to statutory sick pay at least, but when the need to furlough them expires, you'll need to think about whether you will keep them off work but on SSP only, or move them to ordinary sick leave status. Now, if you were to put them on sick leave, you'd then need to make any additional payments required by your sick pay scheme. Secondly, what about those employees who are fit and willing to return to work but unable to do so because the schools are closed? Now, while employees are entitled under existing law to a few days dependent leave, this is unpaid and is designed for circumstances which arise unexpectedly, which is not really the case with a return from lockdown or furlough. So there's no legal obligation to keep paying employees in these circumstances, but consider whether you're willing to do so for a brief period to help your staff. Thirdly, are you aware of any cases where returning employees have suffered a bereavement or other trauma whilst away from work and so may need further time off or additional support? Finally, you will of course need to consider any government guidance in place about health and safety precautions for those that are returning. But what if, despite you taking these necessary steps, an employee still refuses to return to work because of their fears around infection, either commuting or in the workplace itself? Now, those fears may be understandable and genuine, but that does not necessarily make them reasoned or reasonable or anything which you are obliged to accommodate indefinitely. Now, you may just want to avoid the argument for now and keep them on furlough until the scheme expires, or one certainly more harsh option would be to stop paying them on the basis that they're effectively absent without leave. Now, some businesses will have to face the question of whether they're willing to dismiss those who refuse to return to work once the current restrictions are lifted. Now, in the next part of this series, we'll be talking about home working and how to deal with the inevitable increase in flexible working applications.